Hey folks, in this video, I'm going to show you how I do the concrete curb or concrete edging around my gardens and flower beds. Alright, so the first thing you want to do here is, before you start any concrete work, is set up your forms. Here I got a semi half circle. You can use 1/4-inch plywood to do a circle or a half circle because that stuff bends pretty easily. On this form here that I set up, I have the back side is a little higher than the front section, so I can put the curbing or the edging at an angle going up towards the garden area. The back is about 3 3/4 inches high. The front is 2 3/4 inches high, so that gives me an inch difference. The forms are actually set up about 4 inches apart. I use a piece of scrap wood 4 inches wide, so when I laid the form down, I could get the exact 4 inches apart, the front to back side. So it's 4 inches all the way through. Now you notice that I did set up the form right on top of the grass. This is an edging slash curbing kind of thing. I don't feel it's necessary to dig into the ground. After the curbing is done, I'm going to go ahead and add some loom to bring this area up a little bit. So I did the other sections too, and I didn't feel it was necessary to go and remove the grass before I did the edging. But that's just me. You can do that if you want to. So once your forms are in place and everything's staked down and screwed together, you go ahead and you're going to mix up your concrete. I'm using a wheelbarrow and I'm mixing the concrete by hand. You could use a concrete mixer, but this is such a small section here, I didn't feel the need to do that. I am adding just enough water to the concrete so it holds its shape. So when I make a ball with the concrete, it'll actually hold its shape. So when I put it in the forms, I'll be able to make that angle from the back form to the front form, and it'll hold itself in place. Here you can see where I'm testing out the concrete to make sure it's not too wet. So now what I do is I take a shovel, scoop up the concrete, and we go ahead and we'll place it in the forms, tapping the concrete down with the shovel itself. Once we get enough concrete in the form, we start working it with the mag float. And any other concrete tool that might be helpful to get in tight spaces. And I just work it and press it into the form, and then I just add some concrete if there's any low spots in any areas. And I'll just keep adding concrete and working it until the form is completely filled. Once the form is filled, and it's the way I like it, and it looks good, I'll take the concrete curved edging tool and I'll hit the edges of the form itself, the concrete itself, which will curve the edge of the front and back side. Then I'll go back with the mag float if I need to, in case there's any concrete buildup from doing the edge, and just flatten it all out, make it smooth again. The last thing I do with concrete is I'll let it set up for a little bit, and then I'll take the broom, the concrete broom, and I'll just broom the top of it to give it that nice finished look. What we'll do now is we'll let this dry for 24 hours and we'll come back. All right, it's been 24 hours, so it's the next day. concrete is set up, we're going to go ahead, remove all the screws from the forms so we can get the forms out. So once the forms are out, we just go ahead and clean up the area. Once the forms are off and the area is cleaned up, I go back and I take my concrete trowel and I just clean up the edge. So I'll scrape the edge a little bit just to give it that nice clean look. So the last thing you want to do is put in what's called a control joint. I'm actually doing 2 here. They're about 1.5 feet apart to help control any cracking. I'm actually using a die grinder with a concrete cutting blade to do that. I'm only going about 1 inch deep, if that. When you do your control joints, it's usually 10% of the depthness of the slab or the concrete. So since it's 3 3/4, I'm doing about 1 inch of a cut. The very last thing that I do is I go ahead and I seal the concrete with some concrete sealer, and the curbing / concrete edging is complete. And this is just another view of the other side with the concrete edging. Goes all the way around the front lawn and down the side of the house. If you got any questions or comments, you know what to do. Leave them down below. You all take care. God bless and have a great day. Bye-bye.